Hello and Namaskara. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Nanu Nimma Mr. Monk. I'm very excited today to introduce you all a very special guest. So here it is, Miss Abarna. She has been in the UK for more than 5 years now, who has an experience working as a part-time worker while she was a student, and now she is a full-time worker with a skilled worker visa. Yes, that's right, you heard it right. So I have been getting a lot of messages on Instagram recently from students, to be honest, asking about the living expenses and how to choose the universities. So today she is gonna answer a few of those questions. So I have a set of questions ready, so I'm gonna start asking her. She will be answering them today promptly. So first question is, how do you choose the universities in the UK? And what are the criteria that you will be looking into while selecting the universities or the course?
I have been getting these sort of questions as well in how do you select universities. So basically, there are two sorts of groups in the UK, how they have categorized universities. So one is called as the Russell Group, the other one is the non Russell Group. Generally, Russell Group are the top universities in the UK, but it doesn't mean that the non Russell groups are not that great. Some of the Russell groups, if I have to name, I can say it's Cambridge University, University of Edinburgh, University of Bristol, University of Birmingham, and all the other universities comes under the non-Russell group. The main difference I would say between the Russell and the non-Russell group is a research grant that they receive every year. Russell group do receive a lot of research grants, and mainly because of that reason, the top specialist teachers or the academics get in to those universities. So they are very expensive compared to the non-Russell groups, but it all comes to the student priority end of the day, what sort of course they select and which university they want to get in terms of the financial aspect of it, or whether it is the course that they want to give priority on it. So that's one of the category that students can consider in getting into the university.
Thank you so much for answering that question. So, as a student, as an international student, my second question will be, how will I get a scholarship? Is there any possibility that I could get 100% scholarship?
Yes, there is a possibility to get a 100% scholarship, also a 50% scholarship, and also 25% scholarship, or even a 5% scholarship. It all depends upon the course you select. For example, women in STEM do get a full time scholarship, and for even boys, they can get full time scholarship as well. But if you are considering scholarship, there are again two categories that comes into place. Indian government also gives scholarship, UK government also gives scholarship. When it comes to Indian government, you have to go state-wise priorities. They do give grants to students depending upon the state they live in, for to encourage students from India to go to foreign and have this education. But when it comes to UK universities, there are mainly three sorts of scholarship. One is called the Great Scholarship, Sheving Scholarship, Commonwealth Scholarship. You can look into the UK government website. You can look into all these three categories of scholarship and see what sort of grant that you can receive. But usually it's just full scholarship that you receive, 100%, which also includes your living expenses, tuition fee, and many more aspects. But I would encourage students to go into the universities that they have applied. Example, as I mentioned earlier, non-Russell Group universities, if they are considering, if they're going under it. Inside the university itself, in the portal, you can see scholarship granted by the university, not from the government. So these sort of scholarship that comes between the 5% to the 75%, or even the 100%. Some universities do offer the 100%. I'm not talking about the UK government scholarship, but these are the university scholarship. So it also again depends upon the sort of courses that they opt for, but definitely they can go into it and explore. So do apply, make sure you get the conditional offer letter first and start applying for the scholarship way early. Plan ahead before you get into the course. That's what I would say.
That was really amazing. So my next question would be, so how is the life in UK generally for students? Talk more about the living cost and all those sort of things, the financial things.
Uh, so the living cost in the UK again depends upon which city that you are currently will you go into, or you're currently residing. So again, if you are talking about London, it's very expensive and the cost of living is quite high, as everyone says, it's quite high. And if you're considering other cities, like for example, when I was a student, I came into Coventry. Coventry is, comparing London, it's not that expensive. You can manage with the expenses. So you've been hearing in the news that the cost of living in UK is quite high. Yes, it is quite high, but right now in 2024 I can say it is stable comparing the previous years. So it is high, but it doesn't mean that you cannot manage your cost of living. If you're a student and you are getting into a part-time job, you can definitely manage with your expenses. Or if you have a financial background, you can again manage with your expenses. That all comes to the sort of living standard that you are having. Yeah, so in general speaking, rent is high, tuition fee, the place you live, all comes into the factors to depend on your cost of living.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for answering all those questions. So I would say once you land in the UK or any other country, whether it's a Canada, States, so I would believe it's all about your meritocracy where you land up to. There is always a shortage in the skill sets that you have. I would say bereft in the skills. So there is always a room for the improvement. So you need to work on that, end up in a very good position. So my next question would be for you. Once you are graduated, once you're out of the university, so what are the next steps that can be taken to get a full-time job in the UK? Or while you are a student, how is it about how to get a part-time job?
So we'll start with the part-time job first, I would say. So once you get into the university, I would say prioritize studying because you have paid for it. At least for the first semester, you have to focus on your studies. But again, few people do come in and they want to manage their finances. So they want to make sure they get into a part-time job. That's their main priority. They would have taken student loan and they have to start building up their finances before they finish their studies. So to get into a part-time job, first thing you can go is go into the university, apply for roles. There are few roles like ambassadors, we call them student ambassadors. I worked as a student ambassador within the university. It helped me a lot. We call it as a 0 hour shift. So they will call you when they need it, but still you will be paid. So this is very good because for few students where they can prioritize their studies more than the work but also earn in meanwhile, so they can consider this as an option. But for few students where getting regular income monthly is very important in order for them to pay the rent or to meet up with their cost of living as well, so they can consider options based again on the city that they live. For example, I'm going to speak in terms of Coventry, especially because when I moved into Coventry, part-time job was a great difficulty. So everyone suggested me to go on to warehouses. This also can be considered. Don't think that warehouse jobs is not something. You have to have an open mindset that you can also consider warehouse jobs. Cities like Coventry do only have these options, or you have to work as a waiter or waitress. But in cities like London, there are variety of options. Or even Leicester, because there are a lot of Indian population over there, you'll get a lot of options. But again, it's going to be on the restaurant side or the retail shops, or we call them off-license stores here. You can consider that. In London, you have many options. It's not limited at all. But for cities like Coventry, it's very limited. So apply for warehouse, which is quite quick and easy. Opt for a 20 hours shift a week, which is your due period that you can do in your as a part-time student. Or if you are saying that that's not an option that I want to consider, you can also try customer service job. But let me tell you this, it's not as easy as an Indian customer service jobs or BPO jobs that you can land. It's quite difficult, but there is still an option for you to try. So you have the opportunity. All I would say is consider the opportunity and keep trying. It's not going to be easy, but if you try, there is nothing impossible.
And also, if you could answer about getting a full-time job once you're graduated.
Again, full-time job is not impossible, but it's definitely hard. I do have many students asking me this question. They consider international business management or business management courses, which they think, or I don't know, they consider it to be easy before they come into UK, and they think that this is some course that I can do easily and then land into a job. let me tell you this is, although you can finish the course even with distinction, that really doesn't matter. But after getting into business management or international business management, or however you want to phrase it, the course to be, it's all the same. Getting a job in this domain is quite difficult. To be honest, if you consider a technical role, you have a lot of opportunities because that comes under the shortage occupation list. Sure. So you can even get a visa. So it shouldn't be a problem. But in international business management, getting a job or a visa is going to be a great difficulty. Rather, I would suggest two particular courses. If you want to get into management itself, why not take project management, or why not you consider finance programs? A lot of finance programs are there. It's going to be a little difficult, but it's again comes under the management itself, in the category of it, although it has a very specific sort of department and domain. I would suggest work hard on it. You have a lot of opportunities. You can get into a graduate schemes, graduate roles. Always try in the entry level, never try in the experience level unless you have an experience in India, let's say 5-6 years of experience. You can consider in the experience category, but get into a graduate scheme, and also consider sustainable development programs. These kind of courses are rarely explored, and if you get into a master's into these programs, it's very specific, so you can definitely get into a job where there are a lot of openings as well. The competition is less. If you all go into international business management, everyone taking up the role, the sort of roles that you get, the competitions are high. So start exploring in the same field but in different domains, I would say, so you can land in possible jobs.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering those questions, and really appreciate you taking your time in your busy schedule and being a part of this vlog. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Here we go, guys. I hope she answered all the questions that has been running in your mind as a student. I hope this video is very helpful for you people. Thank you so much for supporting. Keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.